Welcome everyone to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Especially if you're a UPSC aspirant, get ready. We're about to jump into the essential current affairs for July 22nd, 2025. This is part 1.
That's right.
Think of this as, well, your strategic shortcut, helping you stay ahead, grasp the nuances, you know how important that is.
Absolutely.
And you might even spot some familiar topics from our past discussions, which is great, perfect for a quick revision, really lock that knowledge in.
Definitely. And today we're going broad, but also deep. We'll touch on national policies, international deals, some really cutting-edge science, and even look back at key historical moments.
The goal.
To connect the dots for you, see how all this diverse information actually fits together, building that comprehensive picture.
Excellent. Let's dive right in then. First up, a major national policy focus, India's anti-drug movement, specifically how it's engaging youth through frameworks like MY Bharat or MY Bharat, especially after that youth spiritual summit.
Right, MY Bharat.
Yeah.
It's actually quite an interesting setup, an autonomous body, government established.
Okay.
Its main purpose is to provide an institutional mechanism, powered by tech, focusing on youth development. But importantly, also youth-led development.
So empowering young people themselves.
Exactly. Putting them in the driver's seat for change.
That feels like a significant shift. And central to this, I believe, is the Kashi Declaration. What's the core idea there? How does it change things?
The Kashi Declaration is, it's pivotal here. It lays out a 5-year roadmap for the whole de-addiction movement.
A 5-year plan.
Yes. And it confirms this national consensus, this agreement.
That substance abuse needs a different approach.
Precisely. Moving beyond just, law and order, recognizing it as a multifaceted public health issue and a societal one, too. It's a much broader, more holistic view.
Okay, so that's the philosophy, but how does it translate into action? What are the sort of institutional mechanisms being put in place?
Well, it's pretty comprehensive. The declaration calls for multi-ministerial coordination. So different government departments working together.
Makes sense.
There's the formation of a joint national committee, annual progress reporting, for accountability.
Right.
And a national platform to connect affected individuals with support services directly.
Practical help.
Yes. And it's not just about government bodies. It stresses integrating spiritual, cultural, educational, and tech efforts, all aimed at prevention. Really a 360-degree approach.
That is quite layered. Now, this builds on existing efforts, right? What foundational policies were already there?
Oh, absolutely. There's a solid base. You've got the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act from way back in 1985.
The NDPS Act.
And the Prevention of Illicit Traffic Act from 1988.
Yeah.
More recently, the National Action Plan for Drug Demand Reduction, NAPDDR, for 2018-25.
Okay.
And of course, the Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, NMBA, launched in 2020. This new roadmap works alongside all of these.
So, with all these initiatives, what does the data actually tell us? The National Survey on Substance Use from 2019. What picture did it paint?
The 2019 survey, it gave us some pretty stark figures, really highlighted the scale of the challenge. It found 14.6% of people aged 10 to 75 were current users of alcohol. That's a significant number.
Wow.
And after alcohol, cannabis and opioids, things like heroin, were the next most commonly used substances across India.
That's sobering. What are the underlying causes? What's driving this challenge from your perspective?
It's rarely just one thing. It's usually a complex mix. Social factors are huge: peer pressure, family conflicts, isolation, especially for young people.
Right.
Then economic factors. Unemployment, poverty. They definitely play a role. Can drive people towards substance use.
Desperation, perhaps?
Could be. Psychological factors, too. Mental health issues like anxiety, depression, increased vulnerability. And academic or work stress, that high-pressure environment. And critically, we can't ignore geographical availability. India's location, sitting between the Golden Crescent and the Golden Triangle.
Major drug-producing regions.
Exactly.
Right.
That makes access easier. So understanding these root causes is just as vital as having strong policies. You need both for effective solutions.
Absolutely. Okay, let's shift gears now from domestic policy to the global stage. A big development is the India-EFTA Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement, TEPA. It's set to kick in October 1st, 2025. This isn't just another FTA, is it?
No, definitely not. TEPA, signed back in March 2024, focuses on key areas like market access for goods, rules of origin, trade facilitation, the usual suspects, but with some twists.
Yeah.
It also covers trade remedies, sanitary and phytosanitary measures. aiming to streamline trade, reduce those barriers between India and the EFTA countries.
Now, I heard something about this being, well, groundbreaking in terms of commitments. Yeah. What makes TEPA stand out?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
And potentially a model for future deals. It's India's first FTA with a binding commitment on investment and jobs.
Binding? How so?
A commitment from the EFTA side for $100 billion in foreign direct investment.
$100 billion. Wow.
Yes. And 1 million direct jobs in India over the next 15 years. That's tied directly to the trade benefits India is offering.
What benefits is India offering in return?
India allows several EFTA products, think Swiss watches, chocolates, cut and polished diamonds at lower or zero duties.
Okay.
And the EFTA's offer, it covers 100% of non-agricultural products and concessions on processed agricultural products. Though India has kept sensitive items like dairy, soya, coal off the table.
An exclusion list, right?
Exactly. There's significant tariff reduction, too. EFTA cuts tariffs on about 99.6% of India's exports, India on about 95.3% of EFTAs, plus commitments on things like IPR and mutual recognition in professional services, like nursing.
That investment in jobs commitment is really the headline grabber, though. What's the current trade picture with EFTA like?
Well, in 2024-25, trade was around USD 24.4 billion. But interestingly, India runs a pretty large trade deficit with EFTA.
Why is that?
Primarily due to large gold imports, mostly from Switzerland. Switzerland is by far India's biggest trading partner within EFTA, followed by Norway. So this deal aims to rebalance that a bit, boost Indian exports.
Got it. And just quickly, remind us who EFTA is. People sometimes mix it up with the EU.
Good point. EFTA is the European Free Trade Association, an intergovernmental body for free trade. Crucially, its members, Switzerland, Iceland, Norway, Liechtenstein, are not part of the EU, founded way back in 1960.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. Now, pivoting again to a massive project with huge geopolitical and environmental implications, China's plan for the world's largest dam on the Brahmaputra, or the Yarlung Tsangpo, as it's known in Tibet.
Yes, this is a project of almost unimaginable scale. It's being built across this enormous gorge in the Himalayas, right near the border with Arunachal Pradesh, where the river does that sharp U-turn.
Bigger than 3 gorges.
Potentially, yes.
Oh.
That's the projection. And remember, the Brahmaputra flows through the Tibetan Plateau, carving out the deepest canyon on Earth there. So the location itself is extreme. A project that massive must raise a whole host of concerns. What are the main worries people are voicing?
There are several, and they're significant. First, disaster risk. The Tibetan Plateau is seismically active. Think of the 1950 Assam-Tibet earthquake. Building a mega dam there
increases the risk exponentially.
You could say that. Risk of earthquake damage, potential dam bursts,
Ah.
Huge environmental challenges, disruption to local ecology, impact on downstream water flow.
Affecting India and Bangladesh.
Absolutely.
Right.
Affecting biodiversity, agriculture. Then, the geopolitical angle. Fears that China could potentially use the dam as a water bomb in conflicts, control the flow.
Weaponizing water.
That's the concern. And finally, cultural challenges. The project threatens local tribes like the Adi tribe in Arunachal's Siang Valley, whose lives are tied to the river.
These are serious concerns. How is India responding? Are there any mechanisms for dialogue with China on these trans-border rivers?
There is something. An expert-level mechanism, the ELM, was set up in 2006.
Its purpose is to share hydrological data, especially during flood season, for rivers like the Brahmaputra and Sutlej, mostly for flood warnings.
Does it address the dam building directly?
Not explicitly in the way an international treaty might. And notably, neither India nor China has signed the 1997 UN Watercourses Convention, which could offer a stronger framework.
So dialogue exists, but perhaps limited in scope.
You could say that. India is also building its own large hydropower dam on the Brahmaputra in Arunachal, partly to assert its own rights and meet energy needs. It really underscores the complex mix of development, environment, and international relations in the region.
A very delicate balance. Okay, let's move from water currents to scientific breakthroughs. India's indigenous malaria vaccine, AdFalciVax, this sounds like a really big deal.
It is a major step forward for India in vaccine R&D. It's a collaborative effort. ICMR's Regional Medical Research Center in Bhubaneswar, the National Institute of Malaria Research, and the Department of Biotechnology's National Institute of Immunology are all involved.
What makes it so revolutionary compared to existing malaria vaccines? I understand it targets the parasite differently.
Exactly. That's the key innovation. It employs dual-stage targeting.
Dual stage, meaning?
It targets Plasmodium falciparum. That's the deadliest malaria parasite at 2 critical points in its life cycle. The pre-erythrocytic stage, which happens in the liver,
Okay.
and the transmission or sexual stage,
Right.
which is how it spreads. Most existing vaccines only hit one stage. This aims for a broader knockout punch.
And it's called a recombinant chimeric vaccine. Can you break that down for us? Sounds complex.
Let's try. Chimeric basically means it combines pieces from different sources. In this case, antigens, the bits the immune system recognizes from different stages of the parasite's life cycle, are combined into one single immunogen.
Like building a composite wanted poster for the immune system.
That's a good analogy. And recombinant DNA technology is just the lab process used to create this chimera, combining DNA from different sources. So they've cleverly engineered different parts of the parasite into one vaccine molecule.
Clever indeed. So what are the real-world advantages then? How does AdFalciVax stack up against, say, Muscarex or the R21 vaccine?
Several potential advantages. That broader dual-stage protection could be more effective than the existing WHO-recommended vaccines. It might also mean a lower risk of the parasite evolving to evade the vaccine.
Better long-term immunity, maybe?
That's the hope. Plus, a huge practical advantage, extended thermal stability. It's reportedly functional for over 9 months at room temperature.
Wow, that's massive for distribution in hot climates.
Huge. Less reliance on cold chains. And finally, potentially cost-effective manufacturing using a bacterium called Lactococcus lactis. So broader protection, potentially longer immunity, easier distribution, cheaper production. Ticks a lot of boxes.
Fantastic news on the health front. Now let's shift to an institution that's fundamental to understanding India. The National Sample Survey, NSS. Celebrating 75 years, that's quite a milestone.
It really is. Established back in 1950 by the legendary P.C. Mahalanobis. Its mission from the start was to collect crucial economic and social data using scientific random sampling.
Under which ministry does it operate?
It's under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, MOSPI, headed by a Director General, responsible for these huge nationwide surveys.
And what kind of data are we talking about? What does the NSS actually cover?
Oh, it's incredibly wide-ranging.
Yeah.
Household surveys covering socioeconomic topics, population, births, deaths, migration, fertility, family planning, consumption,
Yeah.
you name it. Also, surveys on land holdings, livestock, agriculture, establishment surveys focusing on non-agricultural businesses in the unorganized sector, rural retail prices.
And village-level data, too.
Yes, village surveys checking on infrastructure availability. It paints a really detailed picture across the board.
How is such a massive operation structured? It must be complex.
It is, but well organized into 4 key divisions. SDRD in Kolkata does the survey design and research, the planning part.
The brains.
Kind of, yeah. Then FOD, Field Operations Division, based in Delhi, Faridabad. They're the feet on the ground, collecting the primary data. DPD, Data Processing Division, back in Kolkata, handles processing, tabulation. And SCD, Survey Coordination Division in New Delhi, makes sure everything runs smoothly together.
A well-oiled machine. What are some of the major ongoing surveys people might recognize or whose data is widely used?
Several key ones. The Urban Frame Survey, crucial for sampling in cities. The Annual Survey of Industries, ASI, tracking the organized manufacturing sector.
Right.
The Periodic Labor Force Survey, PLFS, since 2017. That's now the main source for employment and unemployment data. Very important.
Extremely.
And various price surveys feeding into inflation indices like the CPI and WPI. NSS data really is the bedrock for so much policy formulation, understanding socioeconomic trends in India.
Couldn't agree more. All right, let's wrap up with some rapid-fire updates. Quick takes on other important news from the last couple of days. What's first?
Okay, first, the Codex Alimentarius Commission. India's work on developing standards for millets got recognition at the recent meeting in Rome. SAC is the big international food standards body under FAO and WHO. 189 members setting rules for food safety, quality, fair trade.
Good for millets, good for India. Next.
Bitra Island in Lakshadweep. The administration is considering acquiring it for defense purposes. It's the smallest inhabited island there, near Agatti. Highlights the strategic value of the archipelago. Remember, Lakshadweep, India's smallest UT, 36 coral islands.
Strategic location indeed. What about the Kamchatka Peninsula?
5 strong earthquakes offshore there recently. It's in the Russian Far East, right on the Pacific Ring of Fire, the land of fire and ice. Also where the disputed Kuril Islands are nearby.
Okay. And the M23 rebels in Congo.
News of a commitment to a permanent ceasefire from the M23 rebels in eastern DRC. They are primarily ethnic Tutsis, reportedly backed by Rwanda, formed back in 2012 protesting a failed peace accord. A long-running conflict.
A positive step, hopefully. This next one sounds like sci-fi. In vitro biotransformation, IVBT.
It does. Chinese researchers developed a system, IVBT, to synthesize sucrose sugar directly from methanol.
From methanol.
Yes, and that methanol can come from industrial waste or even captured CO2. So essentially converting CO2 into food or chemicals using enzymes outside a living organism. Huge potential for environment and food security challenges.
Incredible. A quick historical note on Mangal Pandey.
PM paid tribute on his birth anniversary. Born in UP, joined the 34th Bengal Native Infantry, famously protested the greased cartridges, sparking the 1857 revolt at Barrackpore, a symbol of courage and patriotism, hanged in April 1857.
A pivotal figure. What about the Hatti tribe in Himachal Pradesh?
Their traditional polyandrous marriage custom Jajsha was performed. Polyandry is when a woman marries multiple men. Among the Hattis, a scheduled tribe of the Transgiri region, reasons include keeping ancestral land together. They're named after huts or local markets.
Interesting cultural insight. And the Mangarh Massacre.
A somber reminder. Tribal communities gathered recently at Mangarh Dam in Rajasthan, demanding a separate Vil Pradesh. Mangarh was the site of the 1913 massacre, often called the Jallianwala Bagh of Rajasthan. British forces fired on Bhils led by Guru Govind Giri, killing around 1,500.
Tragic history. Lastly, biomolecular emulator. BioEmu, another tech leap.
Yes, BioEmu 1. A new deep learning system from Microsoft, Rice University, and Free University. It predicts not just protein structures, but their dynamic shapes, how they move and flex.
Like AlphaFold, but for movement.
Kind of builds on it. It allows high-resolution modeling of protein flexibility, trained on the AlphaFold database. Big benefits, faster, cheaper, large-scale predictions, and it's open source. Really helps understand how proteins function.
Wow, that's quite a range of updates. It really shows how interconnected everything is.
Absolutely. Staying updated on these diverse topics is key for that comprehensive understanding.
Well, that brings us to the end of this particular deep dive. We've certainly covered a lot of ground for July 22nd, 2025, from national drug policy and global trade deals to malaria vaccines and historical moments.
A real mix today.
We really hope this helps you feel well-informed, maybe a bit more prepared, especially those of you focusing on your UPSC preparation.
Hope it sparks some connections for you.
And if you did find this deep dive valuable, please do consider hitting that like button and subscribing. It honestly helps us continue bringing these sessions to you.
And maybe leave you with a final thought. As you look at these different items, a trade deal here, a scientific discovery there, a historical struggle somewhere else, consider how they aren't really separate. They all weave into the fabric of our present and shape our future. How does seeing those connections maybe change how you approach understanding complex problems?
That's a great question to ponder. Excellent food for thought. Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.